Hey guys, Julian here, and today I'm going to be showing you how I remixed Alice DJ's classic, Better Off Alone. I just dropped my remix out of this. You can see the link is at the top of the description. Make sure to go check it out. It's a really cool remix. I did some interesting stuff in here, which I'm going to be breaking down today. But yeah, I really like this one because I feel like this one was a little bit more of me. It's like, when I'm trying to make my techno releases, of course, I'm putting myself into it, and it's always me making it and all that kind of stuff. However, it definitely feels like this was a lot more of like just exploring things that I like and kind of putting together different concepts instead of like trying to just make like a really good techno track, you know? So my goal here was to make a cool kind of like techno trance remix, and I think I did that. So the first sound we've got here is the kick. It sounds like this. Pretty simple stuff. This is just kick sample going into a bit of EQ, a bit of saturation. We got a rumble. And then, yeah, you can see the rumble, just got a delay, going into an amp with a low-pass filter. I honestly think that, like, in all my tracks where I have rumble kicks, I use delay to do it. I did try it with the reverb here, but I don't think I ever actually end up using reverb to do it. Got a bit of, yeah, so we got that distorted filter down, got an EQ, got some LFO tool making it bounce off the kick. Then we got some very detailed EQ, a bit of drum bus, a bunch of turned off plugins, and then some more EQ, and then these filters here are just coming in at different times. Like, I'll show you, you know, like to filter the kick up here. And there's also this low pass here that's being slowly automated up. So, yeah, it's pretty simple stuff with the kick. Nothing really too crazy there. Next thing that I'll show you here is like the rest of the percussion. We've got all of this. So it's pretty standard stuff like you see in a lot of my videos. I've got like some hi-hats. Shout out Vengeance Essential Deep House too. I actually use this pack a lot for techno. If you listen to the hi-hats in here, they're just really sharp and like very high quality sounding. If I show you the open hi-hats as well, this is one of my favorites. Like, they just have some really good fat hi-hats in there, so I definitely recommend checking that out for techno sounds. But yeah, got a ride along the bottom as well, just like 909 ride. So yeah, there's all the percussion. The percussion's pretty simple in this one. The next thing here would be probably like the lead. So this is what it sounds like. Here is basically what's going on with the MIDI here is, so it plays. There's the original melody. It plays that at this point, and then in these other points, what I did was I just kind of took that MIDI and chopped it up and made like this and this. So yeah, it's kind of like, I didn't want to just have that the whole way through. It's kind of like teasing it a little bit. It's like, you know, it comes in here and it's just playing a few notes. But you can still definitely tell, like, it's the same musical vibe as the main melody. Then it comes in here, a few more notes, and then finally here we get the full melody. So yeah, because it's like, if it just dropped in with the back here at the beginning, it wouldn't really be building towards anything. It's like when you hear this right at the start, you can tell like it's gonna turn into something bigger, you know? So yeah, and then over here there's like this melody. I honestly can't remember if I came up with that one or if that was in the original. I mean, it's like, so yeah, that's that main lead. There's also this layer that comes in here. But yeah, for the sound on this one, it's pretty simple. It's just made using Serum. It's just like the super saw thing. Got a bit of distortion. I like using the phaser kind of like as a filter. Here's without that. You can hear it just kind of gives it a bit of a more like scooped mid-range type of sound. Then we got a filter, which is being automated, I'm pretty sure. Bit of chorus, a bit of EQ. pretty simple stuff. We just have some echo, a bit of reverb, drum bus, EQ, filter, washout. Not super complicated. I've also got the group of those too, which has a bit more drum bus, a bit of LFO tool as well for the fake sidechain kind of thing, which is playing here. There we go. And then I've also got a bit of EQ on there. So yeah, there's the lead. There's also this lead. So this is something where I'm really talking about, like, kind of bringing in my own influence. Like, I've never heard something like this in a techno track, but I thought it sounded really cool in this big breakdown here. And also in other parts of the track. But it adds something almost kind of like futuristic. Like, I feel like it sounds like something from like a Flume song or something like that. What this is, I'll show you the MIDI first. This is the MIDI. It's really simple. Basically, it's just like kind of walking up and down this little chord progression here. The thing is, this was actually written as a completely different sound. Like, I just kind of came up with this, and I was going to turn it into like a beat or something. But then I ended up thinking it would sound really cool. So what I did was I had a chord progression. Like, it was just really simple. It was like just going up some major and minor chords. And then I just kind of moved the notes around a little bit to fit it with the melody that was already playing. But yeah, so with the sound on this one, it's made using 2 layers. We have this one and this one. So this is how you get this big kind of like futuristic sounding sound, is you have one that's really bright and then the high end like this. And then one that's still really cool sounding but fills out the mid-range a little bit more. And these are made using a synth called Legend. It's this preset that I tweaked a little bit called Eternal Silence. It's just like this really cool like detune type of sound. And then yeah, here, I think this one is a little closer to the original sound. Then I got those in a group. We've got like a bit of drum bus, a bit of auto filter, and then I have an LFO tool as well that just comes in at certain points when the drums are playing. But yeah, so that one's pretty simple, but I feel like that really adds a lot. Like, if I play you this whole breakdown and I turn that off, it's cool, but like I said, it's just adding something that you wouldn't expect in one of these types of tracks. So yeah, then after that we got like this bass here. This is simple, just like a Ries bass. Serum. 2 saw waves, detuned, a little bit of a low pass filter. We've got some drum bus, utility converting it to mono because you want your bass to be in mono, especially in techno. Got an EQ cutting out a little bit of stuff, kind of just making room for like where the kick would be in the low end, and just cutting out some mud really. Got more EQ, drum bus, more EQ. This one is also being automated, like we've got that high pass automation there. A lot of these are just kind of like small stuff like that, you know. Then we also have that auto pan on there for that little transition there. That lines up with this sound. It's just for that little part like in the build up. So yeah, and that sound is just like actually a pretty similar sound. You can see detuned saw wave with some unison, got reverb, amp. That's what gives it that like really crunchy texture like that. Got some drum bus, a bit of EQ8 cutting out the low end, washout, and then that same auto pan that's just like being automated up there. Got a high pass filter as well for when it hits in the drop. And yeah, so in terms of like other synths in here, we've also got this one. So this is following this chord progression. This is kind of like a new chord progression that I came up with for this track. You know, it's not the chord progression from the original. But yeah, this sound is pretty simple. This is just adding some stuff like in the mid-range, as you can hear without it. Just kind of filling it out. It's also a good way to mix it up because it's like if you just had that melody going here, I think it would get kind of boring. So this one's pretty simple. It's a similar sound to that last one I showed you, actually. Just some detuned sideways with some unison. Got not even any effects inside of Serum there. Just some reverb, amp to distort it, drum bus to make it fat, LFO tool to give it the side chain. And then we have a high pass. It's important to high pass this sound because this can really get in the way of your kick fast. Like, if I play this for you without the high pass with the kick, it's like, that can get kind of messy. But this way you still get the best of this sound without it clashing with the kick. And then we just have a low pass filter on the end, just automating down during this part. And yeah, and then the other stuff here is like, I guess, the vocals. Like we have in this part. So that's just the acapella from the original. I've got a Foreman shifter on here, little altar boy. All you guys know about this one. This is not a secret at all at this point. But yeah, with this, you know, you just automate the Foremans. It's a cool way to give this like a moving texture. Where it feels like it's kind of like morphing and changing and stuff. I've got a utility on there converting into mono because there was some weird stereo stuff happening with the original. Then we got an echo, bit of reverb, bit of drum bus. I put drum bus even on the vocals to make them fat. And it also helps to bring out the reverb and the echo and stuff. Then we got a high pass filter. Those are pretty simple. There's also this little vocal down here.
Do you think you'd be better off alone?
And yeah, those aren't that complicated. The thing with this track was I just didn't want to go too crazy with the vocals. Like obviously, you know, you don't want to have like a whole verse over a techno track like this essentially. So, you know, just kind of having like the little one there where it's like kind of just keeping it as like this mysterious thing happening throughout the track. So yeah, and another thing down here is I'll talk about the references a little bit because people ask me about using reference tracks a lot. So my reference track for this was actually my track Extraterrestrial, which came out about a month ago now, 2 months ago. Honestly, can't even remember. But you can hear it's actually kind of a similar track to this, to be honest with you. I use the same kick. And a lot of the same hi-hats. But like, this is definitely something I would recommend. If you have something that works really well, like this track did very well on Beatport. It got up to number 6 on the hype techno charts. Got a lot of love from you guys, a lot of love from other DJs and stuff like that. If you have something like that that works really well, there's nothing wrong with just taking it and trying, not to recreate it, but kind of like let that influence your next move, right? Like, okay, people like this track a lot, this big cosmic techno extraterrestrial track. So let me make a remix that's kind of similar to that. It's kind of like that idea. It's not so much about being similar, but it's like, you know, similar vibe with how it's very melodic and trance influenced. And it has like this overall kind of big feeling. And also I used it for a reference, like just for like, you know, how sharp the hi-hats need to be, how hard the kicks should be hitting. You know, stuff like that. Those are different parts of the track. I've also got the Spectre Without Warning in here, which I'm not going to play because I don't want to get copyright strike. But yeah, this one's just playing, I've just got that for a reference as well. That was my reference for Extraterrestrial. So I figured I would just bring it in here. You can see, like, I chopped this up a lot more, and I just have a few little parts of it that I was referencing. It's just, like, for that final check, just to make sure that everything is really on point. But, yeah, so the main thing here was, like I said, referencing your own tracks. There's nothing wrong with doing that, and I think it's a really good way. Like I said, once you make a track that is on the professional level, using another professional track for the reference for that, there's nothing wrong with taking the track that you made and then using that for a reference in the future. So that's a lot of confusion, but that's pretty much how I made Better Off Alone, or how I remixed it. So I hope you enjoyed, guys. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Like I said in the beginning, you can check out the remix now in the description. If you haven't heard it already, it's honestly one of my favorite remixes I've ever made. So definitely go check that out. And yeah, thank you so much everyone, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.